Hello and welcome everybody to today's Commodities Corner session presented by myself, Phil Carr, at the Gold and Silver Club. So during today's session, we will be covering live market analysis. We'll go through a watch list of trade ideas, analysis of where we expect gold, silver, oil, and the commodity currencies to be heading next. We'll be answering questions and also providing live support. As always, contributions are very welcome. Any questions at all, please feel free to put those into the chat. So before we get into it, let me introduce you to the Gold and Silver Club. The Gold and Silver Club is recognized as the go-to authority on commodities trading, as internationally respected experts. Our analysis and our opinions on the metals, energy, and the cryptocurrency markets, they're routinely sought by major financial television channels and publications, which include Bloomberg, Reuters, CNBC, the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal. Our team of experts has trained and mentored thousands of traders from all over the world to invest in the financial markets with confidence using our exclusive strategies. For further information on the Gold and Silver Club and our expertise, please do visit www.thegoldandsilverclub.com. Okay, excellent. So before we go over to my news feeds, we'll have a look at the post non-farm payroll moves. We've got a lot to cover on today's session. First of all, I will talk you through how to essentially look at execution when you're trading on binary.com, when you're looking to take a trade. More specifically, we're going to look at the higher or lower type of trade. So when you bring up a deal ticket, when we're looking at a momentum trade, for example, non-farm payroll is a great example right now of the benefits of using binary.com, because it's a trade where you don't need to have a stop loss, you don't need to have a take profit, and you can take advantage of very fast moves in the market, where essentially in order to win a trade, all you need to see is the price close by 1 pip or 1 point above your entry level if you're going for a buy in order to win the trade, or below your entry level if you're going for a sell in order to win a trade. So the deal ticket here, typically we're executing a trade immediately, so we go for start time now so that we are in the trade real time, we're getting in immediately into that position. After announcement like non-farm payrolls, typically we want to be in and out of the trade just within a few hours before we start seeing any retracements or a turn in overall sentiment later on in the session after the London close. So it could be anywhere from 1 hour to a couple of hours after non-farm payroll. The payout is, of course, down to your account size. So you could be looking at anywhere from £2,500. It could be £500, could be £50, or it could be £2. It really depends on the size of your portfolio and what works for you within your risk for your account. Now, it's very straightforward when you execute a trade on binary.com. Very simply, we're looking either for the price to be higher or lower. The stake is what we're willing to risk on the position, and the payout is what we will make if the trade is correct. So essentially, for example here, if we're looking for start time now over a duration of 1 hour for the price of gold to be higher, the stake would be £1,415.65, and the payout is £2,500. So if we win the trade, we will win £2,500. If the trade was to lose, we lose our stake here. Everything is very transparent. You know what your net profit is on the trade, the net return on that. It could be priced in dollars, pounds, euros. And of course, for the price to be lower, same scenario. So if we wanted the trade to be lower over a specified time frame, the stake here is £1,417. If the trade wins, we would win the payout of $2,500. If the trade loses, we would lose the payout of £1,417. So it's very straightforward, very transparent, and it's a great way to trade big volatility events like non-farm payrolls, FOMC statements, OPEC meetings, GDP data, and it allows you to have that execution without having to have very large stop losses. So it enables you to take volatility on in the financial markets. So with that, what we'll do, we'll go over to the charts and I will talk you through some analysis. We'll go through my news feeds. We'll also go through the technicals and the charts as well. As always, during the end of the session, I will provide you with a link, and I'll just put it in the description. Okay, that is www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com, and that is an application form to join us at the Gold and Silver Club for our live trading rooms. But I'll talk you through that in more detail later on in the session. So let's get over to my screens. I'll bring out my data here, so you should be able to see that in just a second. Okay, quick check-in. You can still hear me okay? Yeah, great stuff. Thanks, Reese. And you can see the screens okay. You can hear me okay and see the screen. Yep, perfect. Okay, thank you. Great. So first of all, if we just have a look at the sentiment, so non-farm payrolls today came out with a positive number. So it was a beat on expectations, and you would normally expect that to have a positive impact on the dollar and be negative for currencies priced against the dollar as well. What we're seeing at the moment, we have seen quite a lot of backing filling because it was quite a large beat with the headline number today. So we have seen the overall non-farm payroll data has been stronger than forecast. So typically you would expect that to have a positive impact on the dollar, but you must watch for the price action and you must look at sentiment as well. So one of the best gauges of that right now, you can see here on my heat maps of what is moving well at the moment. The biggest movers in the positive today have actually been US dollar Japanese yen. So we've seen a breakout on US dollar Japanese yen a little bit earlier on in the sessions. That has been a beneficiary of US dollar strength today. US dollar right now is up about 0.24% on the day. Copper broke out earlier on. We've still got a long position on copper. Palladium has broken out to the upside. It's up just under 0.5% on the day. Platinum is also up on the day, just around approximately 0.5%. Too. Overall, we're seeing strength with the metals. So we see silver is up 0.5% on the day as well. And we're seeing support come in. Gold has been a little bit weak this afternoon after the non-farm payroll data and is lagging behind the other metals. But you want to watch for this right now. When you've got 4 of the major metals and 3 of the precious metals that we're tracking, they're all in the positive for the day. And gold is the only precious metal which is negative on the day at the moment. It suggests that if we continue to see strength this afternoon on silver, on platinum, on palladium, that naturally we will see gold follow through as well. So even though we've seen a beat with the US jobs number, we haven't actually had too much impact on gold so far. It's down 0.3, about 33% on the day at the moment, and it's still holding up quite well. We'll have a look at that shortly on the charts. In terms of the currency crosses, the strongest right now versus the US dollar is the pound. So the pound is holding on to the 1.33 handle at the moment, and we're bouncing from that level at the moment. It's not been a huge move, but it's up around 0.2% on the day at the moment. So if I was looking across the board for a potential trade on the majors here, the pound is leading right now. So the pound US dollar, that is then followed by the euro, which is negative on the day. So I would not go long euro just yet. I wouldn't short it either because it's about flat on the day right now and it's quite oversold still. The Australian dollar is negative by about 0.3% on the day right now as well. New Zealand dollar too has been the weaker out of the commodity currencies. So that would mean that you don't really want to be buying the New Zealand dollar at the moment until the sentiment does change. Oil has been down earlier on in the day. It's starting to recover. Actually, WTI crude oil was down about 1% earlier on today, and now it's down about 0.5% on the day. So it is starting to get a little bit of support here as well. We'll take a look at that. But overall sentiment at the moment for such a big, stronger non-farm payrolls than anticipated, we haven't seen really the follow-through move yet. And we'll see as we go into the US session later on whether the US dollar picks up more momentum to the upside. But at the moment with the currencies, my preferred cross or my preferred long right now, US dollar Japanese yen, but it's already moved quite a lot today, but that is essentially a buy right now. And the pound US dollar, we're watching to see if the low is in, as it holds on to the 133 level, which we'll take a look at very shortly on the charts too. So that's really what we've seen in terms of the major news items here today. I'll bring you over to the charts too. We'll just have a quick flip through some of the breaking news here too. Yeah, we saw this earlier on in the session. Haven't been a great deal of updates here, but the euro, it's snapped a 6 weeks losing streak, so we're starting to see the euro turn around. If we look at that on the weekly chart, there is a rejection candle which is forming on the euro US dollar, and also the pound sterling is right near the 6-month lows, but it's starting to bounce at the moment from that very key level of support. So it's a potential turning point. If we have a look at these on the weekly charts shortly, we can see where we might be starting to put in a low there for the euro US dollar and the pound US dollar as well. One of the interesting points here on oil right now is that the Brent premium over WTI is the largest it has been in 3 years. So it's the most expensive relative to WTI crude oil. So UK oil versus US oil essentially is the most expensive it has ever been. So the spread has got very large here, the disparity between the prices as we've continued to see Brent over the last few days break out to the upside. WTI crude oil has been breaking down to the downside, and that's been interesting. We've started to see a little bit of support come in now for WTI crude oil as we get going within the US session this afternoon. One of the major events that you need to have on the diary is going to be the 22nd of June OPEC meeting. We'll be providing a lot of support for that for all of our traders at the Gold and Silver Club, gearing up for that. If you'd like to find out more about that and the special webinars that we will be hosting for that as well, again, just go to www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com. I put the link there also in the chat there too. So that will be a big event on the 22nd of June. We'll also be trading and providing preparation webinars for the June FOMC statement as well, which will be taking place on the 13th of June. And that can also be a big market catalyst, especially for the metals here too. So we have a look at gold. Gold, we've seen it slip a little bit here after upbeat US payroll data today. So we have seen payrolls boosted by essentially the non-farm payroll headline number. Where we're poised at the moment, though, gold has been holding up. It started to sell off actually just prior to the non-farm payrolls. It's sitting around $1,294 to $95 at the moment. So it's a key level of support. We'll take a look at that. We'll go over to the chart. We'll take a look at that. Just prior to non-farm payrolls, it was sitting just below 1,300 US dollars. So if we have a look at some confluence here and what the other metals are doing right now, Palladium remains with a buy signal, and it's still positive on the day at the moment, and you can see here positive on the week as well. So it's up about 1% on the week, and we're still holding on to this positive price structure with Palladium. Silver also, it's been back in filling a little bit. It retested support just prior to non-farm payrolls, but it is getting a bid. It's just come back for a retest of the weekly lows. It's finding support there as well. It needs to get a little bit more strength. It's more or less flat on the week at the moment. If we have a look at the weekly chart, we're just continuing to consolidate with support around $16.30 per ounce at the moment on silver. It's just coming for a retest back towards those lows. Platinum as well dipped a little bit earlier in the session. On the week, it's still positive here, up 0.6%, and the previous week as well, we seem to be on platinum on the verge of a breakout above this overhead trend channel, which has been in play here for the last couple of quarters. So we've seen this since we put in the high here at the end of December, beginning of January, and we've continued to see this correction lower where we've come all the way back into a major accumulation zone. But platinum might be setting up for a breakout as we go into next week. It's also holding up quite well. It broke down earlier on in the session, but it's already back above $900, trading at $906 at the moment. And then we've got gold. Gold is lagging at the moment. So gold is the weakest out of the metals that we're tracking. I'll just show you copper. So copper has formed a V-shaped reversal pattern, which suggests soon we can actually see a breakout on copper as we go into next week. It's getting well supported. It broke back down towards the swing lows over the course of Wednesday's session, got well supported, and it's on the verge of a breakout. So it's really just gold that's lagging at the moment. Sitting around $1,293, tested the daily low of 1288, but it's got a lot of consolidation here. We want to see how the price structure develops later on as we get closer to the close, and also the dollar as well. The dollar has been backing and filling a lot today. It was looking weak prior to non-farm payroll data, then started to get a bid after that data. We can see we spiked up on the ISM manufacturing PMI data, but we're starting to pull back a little bit. So it's really decision time for the dollar. We've got a potential top which has been put in play. Have a look at the weekly chart. We spiked higher midweek, but then we're starting to roll over again. And it's decision time really as we go into the close today as to whether the dollar will close below some of these key moving averages on the chart. From a technical point of view, if it closes back below those levels and we have a negative close today, that could start to mark a low for some of the currencies against it, or it might just be a pause for the dollar and a continuation pattern to the upside, taking us back towards the recent 10 to 11 month highs here. So I'm watching the dollar very closely. If we move over and have a look at crude oil here, crude oil has been hovering around the weekly lows here. We saw midweek here a supported breakout to the upside. On Wednesday, crude oil was up about 2% on the day. We've subsequently rolled over and retested the 12-month trend channel. So if we have a look at this, and you look at this from a technical point of view, we're right at the lower end of the range here. I suspect the markets are now waiting for the oil rig count data later on in the session. That will come out at 6 o'clock London time, so within just about 2 hours and 15 minutes we will get the oil rig data, and that can then provide the next major move here for crude oil prices. But we're looking a little bit weak here as we continue the US session this afternoon. It's sitting near the swing lows here. It's been backing and filling quite a lot. Hasn't followed through from the move we saw earlier on this week, but we've also got a lot of underlying support at this level as well. We're right at the key level of support for WTI crude oil. So we'll continue to see how that works out later on in the session. Now, in terms of the currencies right now, the pound US dollar is the strongest out of the crosses against the US dollar right now. So out of the pound US dollar, the euro US dollar, the New Zealand dollar US dollar, and the Australian dollar, I have a buy signal at the moment, and it's been the stronger mover. Even with the dollar breaking out today, the pound has continued to get well supported. It has been the most extreme oversold out of all of the major currencies that we are tracking. And you can see it's positive on the day, and overall it's positive on the week. It's starting to form a rejection candle from very oversold levels on the weekly chart, and it held up quite well even after non-farm payroll. So I'm looking for the potential for a breakout back above yesterday's high. It's a little bit early in the session still. We want to see how this closes later on today, but it looks like it's forming a bottom here with the potential to break above yesterday's high and then start to follow through. We've got a buy signal from very oversold conditions, and we're just about holding on a closing basis. If we close at this level to the swing lows going back to the beginning of December. So if I was looking for additional positions right now against the US dollar, you would think with the strong headline number today that the pound US dollar should be breaking down against a strong US dollar, but it's not. It's holding up really well. So I like this price structure. And you can look at that not only with the pound US dollar, you could look at that on the pound Japanese yen, which is now displaying a buy signal too. The pound Canadian dollar is on the verge of breaking out at the moment as well. The euro pound has sold off because of the stronger pound against the euro today. So the pound is getting a bid today. You can look at that also on pound Swiss franc. Any cross against the pound right now, essentially pound New Zealand dollar as well has had a bid. But I think the pound US dollar is a point here where we could see a very significant breakout to the upside if we close well later on in the session. If it closes near the daily highs, we get a breakout continuation as we go into next week as well. The euro, euro's still negative on the day. I'm not so interested in taking on a new position here on the euro. It capitulated midweek and moved about 200 pips from the lows to the upside. I will wait before executing any trades in the euro. I'm not looking to sell short into the euro either at the moment. I'm just waiting for a bit of additional price action. The Australian dollar, US dollar, it is getting well supported, and it depends again how this commodity currency closes later on. Overall, the commodity index as a whole has been building support over the course of this week, and I'll be looking to see how the metals, how the energies, and also the softs as well close later on today too. But the Australian dollar broke down earlier on in the session, but is getting some support here. So we've got a hammer price structure which is forming. But I would still favor the pound US dollar in terms of sentiment is stronger than the Australian dollar US dollar at the moment. Then the New Zealand dollar US dollar is a bit muted. I don't think too much is going to happen with this. I'm not going to sell it because it's recently just broken out of these major channels. If you look at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar on a weekly chart, it's found key support here going back to the swing lows over the last couple of years. This is a weekly chart, probably more evident here if I just show you that on a weekly chart for the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. You can see where it's come into a lot of support. In actual fact, Let's have a look at the weekly then, because we're almost getting to 4 o'clock now, London time. It's worthwhile just having a look at this on the weekly, the price structures that are forming. So yeah, the Australian dollar, we'll have a look at just a raw chart here, just to get a sense of what is happening on the weekly charts. It does look like it's basing the Australian dollar, US dollar at the moment on the weekly. So you've got a potential basing, a V-shaped reversal price structure in development at the moment here. So we'll continue to see whether that gets more support going into next week as well. Pound US dollar here has got a bid right towards the key swing lows going back towards the beginning of December on the weekly chart. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, yeah, it could just be a rotation. We look like we're going to get a bullish engulfing candle on the weekly, so might just not do too much today, but then additional upside as we go into next week. And the euro looks like it's starting to capitulate on the weekly chart as well, which could lead into a recovery as we go into next week as well. But we need to see how they close later on in the session. So that will be very important for those markets. So really essentially now, our positioning at the moment, if you look at the dollar here, look at the dollar on the weekly, you've still got a rejection candle which is forming, so it could be a top on the dollar, which would be an inverse correlation to euro going into next week as well. So my favorite trades right now, I'm already long platinum, so I've got a long position. Let me bring out another chart here. Okay, so I'm long platinum at the moment, and we're in quite good profit on this. So I'm maintaining the long position on platinum. I'm maintaining a long position here on silver as well. Watch for gold, potential latent buying later on in the session. I wouldn't be a seller of gold here at the moment because of the strength in the correlations. You look at copper as well. Copper's on the verge of a breakout. So when you've got platinum, silver, palladium, and copper all looking really strong on the verge of a breakout, you don't want to be looking to sell into gold. Gold might just catch up later on in the session. I'll be interested to see if gold can reclaim 1300 later on in the session as well. Oil, I'm waiting now for the oil rig count later on today, which will come out in approximately 2 hours, just over 2 hours time. Would look out for that. And in terms of the currencies right now, my favorite position is the pound. I've actually got a aggressive long position that we took right after non-farm payroll on the pound, which is up approximately about 30 pips at the moment. So I am long the pound US dollar. It's a bit of an aggressive trade, but I'll be looking at that based on a few different factors and also on sentiment here as well. So again, if we just go over to the overall sentiment that we're seeing in the market right now, just bring that back up again. The pound is leading in terms of, it's up 0.26% on the day at the moment. It's leading against all of the other majors against the US dollar. So that's got good sentiment and momentum behind it right now. Okay, so that's our positioning, guys. That's what we're looking at here, post non-farm payroll. So I've been asked this a few times, actually, following on from some of the recent sessions that we've had recently. We can definitely get you set up with real-time data. The benefit of this, especially when you've got non-farm payrolls, when you've got major data coming out during the course of the week, is that you do get all of this data comes out instantly. So you get it much faster than you would do on other news feeds. So all of the data that came out today, the unemployment rate, non-farm payrolls, average hourly earnings, everything comes out real time. You get a countdown timer to when that data comes out, and immediately as soon as that's posted, you get all of the real-time data the fastest you could possibly get it via the Reuters news feeds here. You've also got a real-time news feed as well, so you wouldn't need to sign up to Squawk or anything like that. You get real-time news throughout the day on all the major news items which are coming through during the course of the session. And I get quite a few questions about also the commitment of traders data. So that comes out every week. It's released on a Friday. So this shows us what the net long positions is of the managed money, the hedge funds, what they're doing on a week-to-week basis. And of course, that's very useful. You can get all the data on open interest. You can see what the hedge funds are doing, the money managers. That's really important because you want to be on a level playing field with institutions, with the banks, when you're trading commodities and the FX markets. You need to really know what they're doing, where they're positioning themselves, where they're going long, where they're going short. So which markets that they're building their positions in, which markets they're looking to sell short in. So that information is, of course, very useful to have that. And it's just useful also to keep track of all the major news stories. So whether your interest is in the metals, it could be in global markets, could be in the energies, could be in the FX markets, agricultural, commodities. You've got country-specific information, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, foreign exchange market, global markets. It's just incredibly powerful information to have at your fingertips when you trade, because a lot of the time traders that I come across that are not consistently profitable most of the time is because they're following pure technicals. So they're basing their trading decisions on just a technical indicator. So whether, for example, it could be an RSI, or it could be a MACD, or it could be a moving average. And don't get me wrong, the technical indicators are very useful, but it is the amateur approach if you're just using technicals when you're trading. A lot of traders are taught to believe that a technical indicator should give them confirmation to buy or sell a market, but often markets are moving, of course, because of economic and geopolitical events and fundamentals, and your decisions should not be based solely on technical indicators. The professional approach is going by research, trends, seasonality, utilizing fundamentals, real-time data, and that will help you a lot to improve with your trading. So again, if you'd like to find out more about that, here is the link. I'll put that in the description if you'd like to get access to real-time news feeds, or just find out more about that at the Gold and Silver Club. The link is www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com. That also gives you access to our private members live trading room as well. So our traders at the Gold and Silver Club, they get access to a lot of services. So they've got access to our daily trade ideas, ongoing support, one-to-one mentoring, our private traders academy, a range of training courses, strategies, research, world-class content as well, really geared to help you to get an edge in the market. So you get access to our custom-built market data and news trading platform. You have during the week invitations to our live trading rooms, and also for trading news events as well. Real-time trade alerts delivered instantly by email and SMS on every trade that we're taking at the Gold and Silver Club. And you get the weekly trading plan with our technical analysis and also our fundamental research for the week ahead. You have access to our private members academy, where you've got a range of our training videos, strategies, signals, and our discussion boards. You get VIP phone and email support directly from our senior traders as well. You get the platform setup and configuration, so we can customize your charts if you would like that, and provide you with our indicators that we use alongside fundamental data. So again, guys, for more information on that, if you'd like to join us at the Gold and Silver Club, or simply just find out more details on the programs that we provide, it is www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com. Complete the application form, and of course we will get in touch with you as ASAP. Okay, good. Right, so with that, I don't think there are any additional questions. I hope that helps as we go into the US session, the rest of the US session this afternoon. I wish you all good trading, and of course we'll catch you back here on the next one, and very much look forward to hear from those of you who will be making an application and joining us at the Gold and Silver Club. In fact, just to add a little bit of detail onto that, I had a few questions after last week's live trading room in terms of what you get by being a client of the Gold and Silver Club, and whether you learn strategies, because you do. You absolutely learn the strategies that we utilize at the Gold and Silver Club. We do cover both fundamentals and technicals during the live trading room, so we combine those methods together so that you've got a more professional approach to your trading, which is much more similar to what you would be doing in terms of execution if you're working within an institution. So that can help you a lot. Okay, fantastic. So with that, thanks again, everyone. Have a great weekend. Good trading. Thanks again to Sharice and Binary.com for putting on today's session, and there should be, the recording will be up later on in the day as well on YouTube for anybody who wants to rewatch today's training as well, for those of you who joined a little bit later in the session. Okay, take care, everyone. All the best and good trading.